We love, we love, we love, we love, we love. I got a lot going on, yeah. We in here, we in here. Let me see. Mm. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. What's going on, IG? It's cracking, it's cracking, it's cracking. Take a night, take a night. Yo, you already know what's going on, man. Listen, man, it's been a lot, man. I'm doing a lot. All right. Got a few things to catch y'all up on. I know we're sorry gonna start at 8. We about 32 minutes over. But I'm here, man. You know what I'm saying? This thing is a whole show, man. This thing is running the whole show, man. Plus, on top of responsibilities, just be honest with you, I didn't even want to do it tonight. I was going to reschedule and push it back tomorrow, but I was like, I've been pushing this back, these lives back, taking nights back long enough. So, y'all know the routine. See, let's get this cracking. You know, we do breakthrough crew. Make sure y'all can hear me. Make sure y'all can hear me. Can you hear me, Telly? Can you hear me? Mm. What's going on, Johnson? What's going on, man? What's going on, brother? We're doing our tech at night right now. So this is gonna be the first time. Okay, hey Yari, what's happening? What's happening? Miss Smith. So this is gonna be the first time we got a stream going with the YouTube, LinkedIn, and I even got Twitter cracking, and then we also got a IG cracking. Mm, I know some of y'all like, you good? You can hear me? Good, 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 good. I some know some of y'all like, dang, where you been? Cloud Tech Big on man, we ain't seen your tech at nights in about what? But it's been about 5 weeks now. Listen, man, I've been doing a lot. Just got back from Italy with the wifey. Um, just been busy, man. Uber busy with everything. Boot camps, promoting and marketing that, handling questions, my own career, my own job, got hectic, just everything, man. It's just being a family man, just everything, bro. But I'm here, you know what I'm saying? And I've still been posting content on all the social media sites. If you follow me on every, whatever channel you follow me on now, I still post about daily content, cloud tech related content and advice. So it hasn't been like I disappeared off the map. Just haven't been doing our YouTube lives breakthrough cool. But I'm here now. I'm here now with y'all. We rocking. We about to get this cracking. All right. So tonight's subject is literally going to be about how cloud support engineers is the breakthrough role for most cloud engineers for most professionals trying to break through in the cloud industry, cloud professional industry. I'm gonna tell you how. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you the top tier skills you need to have. I'm gonna tell you the type of roles, cloud support roles to look for, and more. So we're gonna get into it. First off, y'all already know the routine. You gotta tell me what you're sipping on, and you gotta tell me what city and state you checking in from. Tonight I got a Olivia cigar, a little medium going on. The drink of choice tonight, the spirit of choice tonight, it's gonna be some 1800. Y'all probably can't see it, but that 1800 coconut, you know, it's gonna be a good night. Let me take a look, take some edge out. I just got back from the gym, so I'm gonna be sweating hot, and I'm hot because of, I'm recording this in the garage, so it's hot. You hear me? But we're gonna do it. I'm here for y'all. Mm. Cordis, you say you drinking that gin? Cordis drinking that gin. Okay. We vibing. That's the type of vibes I like. I don't want everybody on them little spritzers, little water diets, little Gatorade. We ain't accepting none of that tonight. Tonight we sipping, man. We sipping. Because it's the beginning of the summer. We worked hard all winter. We grinded the first quarter and we're going into the we're at the second quarter of the year. So we dead heat getting into the summer. Grinding and flossing all summer. You hear me? So we're gonna celebrate with some spirits. What's happening, Linda? What you sipping tonight, Bobby? What you sipping? What you sipping? You know what I'm saying? That we got need to hear what y'all sipping. Come on in the chat. Come on, let's get this thing cranked up, man. What y'all sipping out there in IG world was cracking? From the ATL, from the city, man. I can tell you're not really from the city because you say ATL. When folks not from the city, they say ATL. When you from the city, you say you from what side of town. You usually say what side of town you from. You know what I'm saying? You're on the east side, west side, north side, Marietta, west side, might be uh hey, what's a good city on the west side? Well known city. Um and I'm starting to kick already. I can't think of a west side city right now. But some people might say, nah, Ponce is the east side. But anyway, might be south side, Jonesboro, west side, some people might say Camilton, Bankhead, of course. I know most of my y'all professional, most of y'all ain't checking in from that Bankhead. I know that Bankhead Wi-Fi ain't sharp like that. You know, some of y'all might be checking in from the north side, like I said, Gwinnett, Alpharetta. So, okay, let's see. Drinking that, Telly drinking that water, electrolytes. Here we go. I got a little juice too to knock a little edge off. I got some juice. Hmm. I got some juice too. You know what I'm saying? Said, you already drinking the water. I know you got your waist beads on too. That's all good. Sipping water, worked in help desk for 3 months, then asset manager for 10 months. Now I'm in data center operations. I jump into VMs here and there, VMware to extend volumes. Good, 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 good. I like that. What's ironic is that I actually let me wave at everybody on IG was cracking. I don't want to abandon y'all. What's interesting is actually I saw a guy get a AWS job as a data center engineer, which is great because I don't know if you all have been noticing, and we're not going to do cloud tech news tonight. We're going to do that next week. That way I'll be more prepared for it. But there's, AWS, Oracle, Google has been spending billions of dollars with a B. And we covered this in our last tech night we did by AWS investing $1 billion in Indiana, building in partnership with Indiana, the state of Indiana, and building data centers. Because here's the thing, in order for the cloud infrastructure to work and be more robust, we're going to need a lot more data centers globally because these things, though in the cloud, aren't connected just by a Wi-Fi signal. It's just too much data that has to transmit through those connections for it to just rely on some type of radio satellite connection. It has to literally be networked in through the wires, through fiber cables, etc. And so that requires data centers. So the more data centers we have, the better data centers we have, because they have to fit within all these environmental compliances as well. The better and more robust our cloud technologies will be. It's the whole thing about the AI. Don't get me on a tangent about the whole AI. I promise we're gonna dive into all that in cloud tech news next week. But hey, I say all that to say, Telly, um, there's a lot of opportunities that are being ignored for engineers, especially those transitioning in the cloud, who aren't focusing on the networking aspect of cloud technology. Because when you have those networking skills, especially with that CCNA, that leans you towards being able to work on the more uh, physical networking layer side of technology and cloud technology, i.e., databases. And if these companies are spending billions of dollars per region to set up these databases, guess how much they're going to pay you? Yes, a very lucrative, close to six figure, if not at least six-figure salary plus more. But the opportunity is going to be, and then the overtime that comes with that, because they're going to need you to come build the things are going to happen, and they're going to need you to provide ongoing support even when you've completed building the data center. And then on top of that, while you're building the data center, you're learning the skills how to build data centers. Guess what you can do? You can then become a data center consultant. You can help other companies who want to be more cloud native, who want to get away from the big three and kind of have their own cloud composites on how to construct their physical data centers. Like, this is all the business. This is what part of the things that I'm teaching in my cloud training boot camp is how to mesh yet implement technical skills, but understand the business of technology. So you can mesh them in both and be highly competitive and take advantage of all the opportunities lucrative opportunities available for you in the technology market. Like right now, we're with AI, with cloud computing, we're in a tech boom. And I promise I'm about to get to tonight's subject, but I want to kind of harping on this because Telly brought up his excellent his journey so far, which is highlights the excellent point about data centers. Um, we're in a tech, we are in a tech boom still. With all this AI stuff, all these AI products and AI services, guess what? They're going to need a networking backbone. They're going to need cloud infrastructure to store all the massive amount of data. In fact, even when, and again, I'm going to save more for Cloud Tech News next week. With Apple coming out with their partnership with OpenAI, they originally has always stored their data in their private Apple servers. Well, with OpenAI, due to the massive amount of data, they can no longer just store their data on their private service. They just don't have enough. They haven't built out enough yet. So they're going to be reliant on some cloud servers as well. That's going to store portions of this. They say it's part of their AI compute databases that they're going to store in these public clouds or private clouds. But security. We know how they go. Yes. But anyway, but yeah, I want to answer Telly's point. If y'all got questions in the chat relating to cloud tech and anything I'm talking about tonight, be sure to drop your questions. But so yeah, you've been working help desk for 3 months, IT asset manager now. So okay, looks like you had some growth. Okay, now you're in data. I would encourage you, Telly, personally, stay on the data center route. So I say all that to say stick within the niche of data center, becoming a data center SME, becoming a data center project manager, becoming a data center architect, because you're on the right track. And then the VMs, that's great. So you're getting exposure to virtual machines. You're getting exposed to virtual environments, which is a quasi cloud anyway, because all of the servers within a cloud environment are virtual machines. So lean into both of those worlds because I'm pretty sure y'all are interacting with those data centers are supporting cloud servers. So take some more sip. Mm. All right, let's get back. Let's get back to this drink and back to this topic. Still trying to get in the cloud. Oh man, congrats, man. Congrats, Telly, for real. On that, that's a big boy cert. That cert, you can go far with that cert. And I mean, I'm gonna do a whole video about that AWS Solutions Architect cert because it's more than it has more value than what it's being marketed as. Because most people get that Solutions Arch cert, and then boom, they want to automatically shoot for solutions architect roles, and that's where they're going wrong. You can shoot for all kinds of roles. You overqualify qualify for tons of different cloud roles, application roles, some software engineering roles, project management roles, and then again, not only as an employee, but the business opportunities with that because you're literally an architect, so you can consult on companies on how to build out their cloud infrastructure. But we're gonna talk about that in another video. All right, so I want to get into the topic here. Let me scroll back up. You scroll back up. Let's get to the topic. See, let's see. Get back to the topic. Um, Let me see if I could. There we go. All right. So here's how we're gonna start off. All right. So for starters, we're gonna start with the 7 top skills. All right. So we're gonna talk about why cloud support engineering is the breakthrough role for those professionals looking to break through into cloud engineering, cloud technology roles. So the thing about cloud, see, most people would tell you, especially those who don't understand the business, would tell you, well, if you want to work in cloud, if they say if you want to work in tech, they speak in generalities. If you want to work in tech, the best way to start is a help desk role. Now, while that's true, y'all know me. Y'all been following this channel long enough. Y'all been following my page enough. I'm all about optimizing your resources and optimizing your time. So I want you to get the most for the most effort. You can get a help desk role, right? Get your A+ cert, whatever. And those help desk roles pay anywhere between they pay anywhere between 15 to about 20, maybe top end $25 an hour. All right. The thing about those help desk roles is you're kind of going to be a generalist when it comes to dealing with the physical tech structure of tech. You're not going to be doing a lot of cloud work. All right. You're more likely going to be solving customer problems who have on-premise issues, who have local server issues, Active Directory, things of that sort. But if you really want to get some skin in the game, you really want to start making some good money, I think usually the starting rate for cloud support engineers is anywhere between 60,000 to about 90,000 a year, and that's USD for those who are not in the states. It's a cloud support role. It's basically a help desk role on steroids, but you're getting all the benefits of a cloud professional and the pay of a cloud professional while being able to escape with some skills of a help desk professional. All right. So if you're trying to get into the cloud, again, if you're trying to just break into tech in general, help desk route is the easiest route to go. Get your A+ cert because most of them require at least an A+ certification. Even though y'all know me, I don't promote that A+ certification because why? CompTIA doesn't make any products or services. All right, it's a they've finessed themselves in a way to where industries see them as uh, a tech training standard, a tech capability standard. But anyway, but that A+ is not really worth the time and money just for a help desk job. Right. When no, I got a call so bad, but when really you need to be working towards getting you can with the cloud support role, the barrier to entry level into the cloud is a lot easier because you can actually get away with another thing that I don't advocate, but you can't get away with is um, um, AWS, Google Cloud, Azure fundamental certification, any fundamental cloud certification. You can qualify for cloud support engineering roles, most cloud support engineering roles, because they're really looking for people who are starting to train with cloud support roles and has prior help desk history, or those who have trained themselves self-taught with cloud skills and has a cloud certification and can come in and start working within a cloud support engineering role. All right. Um, you don't have to have help desk experience in order to get a cloud support engineer roles. Many of them really, if you read a lot of the job ads, you don't have to have tech experience at all. You can just need to have understanding. I've literally seen job boards where it says you have to have an understanding of a particular cloud environment and working towards and open towards getting the certification. Meaning, if you get the job as a cloud support engineer, they're likely going to want you to have to pass of the certification exam within a certain amount of months when you're first getting a job. So within probably the first 3 months, 6 months, or even a year having the job, they're going to expect that you gain one certification. Um, and I'll even tell you about my experience when that's how I basically broke into the cloud. My first role was a cloud support engineer. And the reason I learned, and again, went in, I'm a hustler, so I was like, the technical thing is one thing, but I need to learn the business of this. How are these companies making money? Because we had corporations that were paying us six figures a month at the time in 2018, just for us to provide cloud support for their cloud infrastructure. And there's a lot I want to break down. So, but I want to say this: for AWS, not just AWS, but any cloud fundamental cert can qualify you for most cloud support engineer roles. To be honest with you, they're really elevated customer service roles. To be honest with you, if you ever worked in customer service, phone, telecom, customer service, or what have you, then this is pretty much the same thing. Sometimes it's call center where they call in, but in most cases they're submitting tickets. And there's an SLA you usually have to submit on the tickets. But we'll dive into all that later. What I want to talk about now is the top 7 skills you need to become first off, everything I've said so far. Am I starting to gain traction with you? Are you understanding what I'm saying as far as the opportunities of breaking into cloud support engineering roles? If so, put a one in the chat. If I'm not making sense and I need to expound further, put a zero in the chat. Y'all know me. I got to hear back from y'all because I can go on and on. So put a one in this chat if I'm making sense so far. Put a zero if I'm not making sense about the cloud support engineering opportunities. Colorful, what's cracking, baby? Boy, it's not fun. Let me see. Y'all saying one. Good, 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 good. Fur babies, what's cracking? So, all right, so let's get into it. So let's get into the 7 top skills you need to be a cloud support engineer for most roles. All right. Make sure you got your notes. You got your phone out. Just don't close that because I don't want you to stop listening. But start taking these notes. And plus, you got to play back. But so for the number one skill that you're going to need as a cloud support engineer is you're going to need cloud platform proficiency. All right, proficiency doesn't mean you have to be an expert. Doesn't mean you have to be a SME. And I tell this to my boot camp students all the time, especially for applying for roles where they feel like they don't have experience with certain things. Always certain technologies. I always say if you've interacted with that technology before, even if you've read up on that technology before, to be able to have enough of an understanding where you can communicate what it is generally, that means you have exposure to the technology. When you have exposure to the technology, that equates as experience. All right. Experience does not mean expertise. All right. Experience means exposure. All right. When it comes to these cloud tech roles and qualifying yourself and being qualified enough. Because in most cases, what these job boards ask for, they're not going to have you do most of the technologies, interact with most of the technologies on the job board. It's a wish list. And the HR person put it together from a Google sheet that they found online somewhere, along with a conversation they had with the actual engineers who do the work. So um but yeah, so you need to have some proficiency. What does proficiency mean? Mean you need to be able to speak to a particular cloud service provider like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or even Oracle Cloud is coming up. Like be able to speak to what it is, the types of services they offer. So this means, yeah, you need to go through some training, whether that's training for an exam or training in some type of boot camp or accelerated program. All right. Cloud proficiency, meaning you can speak to the services that they offer. It doesn't mean you have to dive in deep in knowing it all, but you need to be able to cover ground, the general basics of what that cloud service provider does. What is it? The different is it? Do they offer IaaS service, PaaS service, SaaS service, fast service, and I forget the fifth one. There's like 7 of them, but there's like cloud. It's basically called cloud models. Understanding the cloud models and the different services offered within those models. Meaning, what does that cloud platform provide when it comes to security? Oh, they have AWS. We all, you should know, has security groups. You should know it has web application firewalls. You should know has subnets, etc. So, cloud proficiency. That's the number one skill you need to have. Again, proficiency. Don't get hung up on being an expert or SME. Just need to have proficiency. All right. In fact, for all of these top 7 skills I'm going to mention, you don't need to be a SME. You just need to have proficiency, meaning you're able to put your hands on the keyboard and demonstrate, implement understanding of these top skills and be able to speak to them verbatim. All right. Again, for cloud support engineering roles, they're not bringing you in unless you're coming in as a senior um, cloud support engineer. They're not bringing you in on because you have all this ton of experience and exposure to the cloud environment. No, they really need bodies in the seat, to be honest with you. And I'm gonna get more into the job tasks and everything later, but they really need bodies in the seat, to be honest, more than anything. Qualified, enabled things. The qualified portion meaning having your certification. The able bodies mean you know how to demonstrate yourself as a professional and troubleshooting cloud issues for customers. Number two, the number two top skill you need to have as a cloud support engineer is networking. You need to understand networking protocols, like the 7 networking layers. You need to know what a DNS is, domain naming service. You need to know how it plays its role when it comes to a website. How does a website resolve its IP address via the DNS? You need to understand TCP and IPs, the difference between the two, and you need to understand VPNs. And the cloud scheme is usually called virtual networks or virtual private networks, VPCs, but usually on-premise servers, usually considered called VPNs. But yeah, you need to have basic understanding of network. That's why, and you can pick this up by usually just studying Network Plus certification. You don't have to sit for the exam, but studying for the exam will give you enough understanding of a network. And by doing 2 or 3 networking projects, will give you a ton of will deepen your understanding of how networking works. So that's number 2. All right. I want to make sure I'm not losing y'all. So put threes in the chat if you're ready for the third one. We got 7. We're gonna go. Give me a 3 in the chat. What's happening? NC Walker. What's happening? What's happening? Okay, Yori gave us a 3. Need some more threes. Yori over there sipping that water, being sober. The rest of us trying to hang on to being sober. Not me though. Okay. Linda gave us some threes. Okay. 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 Let's see what else we got. All right. So number three, you need to have some proficiency when, or at least understanding, because I know sometimes it's harder to come by because, and as I tell my students again in boot camp, most engineers are scared of that command line. But you need to have some type of proficiency, at least understanding how these things work. You can just sit and watch videos to have develop understanding, but it's also really, really nice to have some keyboard experience by way of projects doing this number 3, which is scripting and automation. Meaning you need to have knowledge of languages like Python, Bash, or PowerShell, or Linux as well. Linux is also a big one. Now, with Python, that's a luxury skill to have. Like you can literally just build your entire tech career just being a Python engineer, right? So, and Python has a tremendous amount of depth, all right, depth. And if you're not doing Python constantly, it's easy to forget. But Bash and PowerShell and Linux are kind of all wrapped in one. Those are skills you can constantly stay abreast of, and sharpen because they rarely ever change. Like Linux commands, PowerShell commands have been this way since what, like the 80s, early 90s. There hasn't been much change or expansion to it. So to the programming language. So you need to start doing some writing PowerShell bash scripts, Linux bash scripts, and even Python bash scripts. Try to start stacking it on your resume as well through projects. Not You can start off doing labs. Again, labs are great because labs give you a curated, safe environment to play in, and they set everything up for you, and they help you debunk wrong answers that you'll run into, and sometimes set up wrong answers for you to have to problem solve through it using their lab that they provide answers for. But your projects is where you're going to really build that experience because there's no safety net of you running into problems. You're literally gonna have to research things, call folks, to really sit down and figure out and troubleshoot issues repeatedly until you understand what you're doing. Well, until it works. By the time you get it to work, you're gonna understand what you're doing and why it works. So scripting and automation knowledge. And as I when I wrap these up, I'm gonna kind of go into why these skills are necessary and how you'll be supported in the engineering role. All right, so number 4. Number 4 is again Linux, Unix administrative skills. So this is basically knowing how to navigate the Linux environment, a Linux OS machine, Linux command line, the directories, being able to download repos from Linux repo. Red Hat. Red Hat is probably the most famous Linux OS system and enterprise service system. So learning Red Hat, O'Reilly's offers a great training program that's often free for Linux training, Red Hat training. So again, that gives you more of those scripting knowledge, automation knowledge. Where can put your hands on the keyboard, get in that command line. That's where the money is. That's where the real. Those are the real money skills. When you get on that command line, you become a beast because not only are they high demand skills, they will make your work go by so much faster. You'll be able to execute so many tasks that usually will pile up over hours of time. We're talking about 3 or 4 hours of time, down to being able to literally being able to execute those tasks within minutes. And boom, you got 3 or 4 more hours back to yourself that you just bought for the day because you've gotten proficient with that command line, that Linux command line. It's funny, I just put up in my stories, my IG stories about my teenagers in our boot camp, summer boot camp, and they started off with the Linux project. And that's how I started off all my boot camps. And um, we so in our cloud project that I have been building out, there's a portion of it where you have to interact with the Linux command line in order to download the where that their part of downloading repos and storing the SSH keys. They haven't gotten to the database portion yet, but anyway, um, and they even spoke on the teenagers spoke on how they are grateful. They started off with the Linux project first at the beginning of boot camp because they would have got intimidated had they gotten to the cloud portion and had to open the terminal because it's the terminal is just standing there, just it's black, it's dark, and it's just a bleep, a blinking line. And if you're somebody who's never been exposed to it, you're like, oh crap, I don't know what to do. This is like those programmers in the movies. I don't know what to do. You know, my guy Ryan, what's happening, brother? You still here? What's happening, brother? So that's number four. Linux, strong Linux skill. I know I get this question a lot too. People say, well, should I get my Linux certification? If you don't want, unless I will only recommend you getting your Linux certification or Red Hat certification, Linux Foundation certification, if you're trying to go the route of being like a system administrator, right? Because that's like the traditional route of Linux administration. Like, if you want to go that route, that's fine. They pay well as well. It's a great career path to go on. If that's what you want to end up becoming, just like a Linux me, and there's plenty out there. Um, Not enough, but there's plenty. Um, yeah, I would recommend the certs. But in order to gain the skills, you don't need certs. You just need to do Linux projects or do projects that involve you having to interact with the Linux command line. And you do it often enough, it becomes repetitive. Like that's how I picked up Linux. I don't have a Linux certification, but I've been and me myself, students, my other peers don't have a certification, but they can easily work within the command line. And even the engineers I work with don't have Linux. None of us have Linux. There's very few people I know have Linux certifications, but they know Linux really well. They can navigate throughout the directory. Um, they can, cat out files they're trying to, curate data from. They can reset user accounts on the machine. I only bring that up because I had to do that today. But you learn this stuff, and there's so much great documentation out there to help you troubleshoot on the command line with Linux. All right. Number five. Number five. The fifth of the top seven skills you need for a cloud support engineer will be number five is security. That means you need to be familiar with cloud security best practices, IAM policies, and encryption. Encryption meaning asymmetric and I think it's asymmetric, but I definitely know asymmetric. Asymmetric means public private key, and I think I forgot the asymmetric might just mean it's just literally just a one password will grant you access to whatever the service that you're trying to get access to, service or environment. But asymmetric, I know it's both ways. But you learn that in your cloud training anyway when you're studying for your certifications at the associate level. So, but yeah, these and that's another thing. IAM is security. A lot of people study. Um, a lot of people study. Say drinking that Dr. Pepper. Was that a 225 girl? Hey, did you apply for that role that we talked about earlier? I wanted to kind of see what you thought about it. We get those type of roles from those type of from non-Americans all the time. In most cases they don't really hit because those guys often don't have relationships with the actual client. But it's always great to um, it's always great to just know that if they're hitting your DMs or emails or what have you, that means your resume is biting, which is a good sign. It means you're being picked up by recruiters and hiring managers. People, that means your resume is tight. All right, you just got to keep finding the right role. But they're always asking you to adjust your resume because it's not. They want your resume to always fit perfectly in line with what the client is asking for on the job board, the job rep. And then if you really want the job, if you really want to make headway, you'll make changes to your resume, to get far to the interviewing process. Me, I usually don't because, and I can be picky because you know, I've been doing this for a while. So I'm considered a senior in the field. So I can kind of have my way. But if you really want these opportunities that those foreign persons offer in in those emails that they send you, that oftentimes, and you did the smart thing was you went to their website to see if the job was actually posted there, and you actually saw it there and made sure it was a legitimate company, and then boom, responded with your info. So sent my resume. I heard from the recruiter. Haven't heard from the recruiter yet, so we'll see. Okay, cool. And those guys are, man, they usually are on it. Like you can send them an email response at 8 o'clock at night. They don't care. They're gonna call you if they need you to make an adjustment or whatever. So, but okay, just keep me in the loop on what's going on. All right, so yeah, number five was security. And what I wanted to talk about with security when it comes to top skills is because, and you're going to run into this a lot in cloud support roles, but in general, most those who are trying to break through in cloud tech overlook and underestimate the potential of IAM and what it really means. IAM is not just user identities. It's not just something dealing with roles and responsibility. It is a security skill, meaning it is a part of security. You can lean if you do enough IAM and have enough IAM on your resume, it can lean you towards security engineering roles, cloud security engineering roles. Because it's a crucial part of access to a tech environment, a company's tech environment. Like it's all reliant upon the IAM, when it comes to the cloud. So don't sleep on IAM. And then when you're in the cloud support roles, you're going to do so much of that because companies onboard employees and offboard employees all the time, and you're going to be responsible for likely turning on and turning off. And I'm gonna go through each one of these two. Matter of fact, kind of give you an example of what you expect. But um, turning on and turning off, um, granting permission and removing permissions from users who are coming into a company or leaving the company. So get familiar with those IAM. Get familiar with how to write a policy, how to read a policy, how to the different aspects. List, read, write. What does those things mean? Like IAM gets really deep. It's fun. It's really fun to learn, and it's pretty easy to get into. As far as like when you start learning it, and it's very appealing to a lot of people. They like it because it's kind of fairly easy to read and doesn't really require any computing technical command line interface. But don't overlook it or underestimate IM skills. You do have security experience if you interacted enough with the IAM when it comes to your role, especially in cloud support engineer. That was like 30% of my responsibilities when I was a cloud support engineer. Is just literally my day will be spent approve setting up users that have permissions. And then the easier part about it is it gets easier the better you get, the more you understand it, because then you can just start mirroring roles instead of having to create IAM roles from scratch. You can just mirror users. A little hack I would have is like, all right, well, what user on your team do your permissions need to be mirrored as? And they'll say such and such. Well, I just go into that user and just mirror their policy or mirror their permissions onto this user. That saved me tons of time, all right, tons of research. So IAM is so fun. Harry said that's what I do. Need some projects to start. What about OK Octacert? Yeah. So and that's another thing about IAM. IAM gets deep because you start, especially when you start dealing with and Ryan actually speaks to this because this is he's an IAM engineer, actually, Azure IAM engineer. But OK, Okta is part of like a third party authenticator that you can set up to interact with the roles that you create within your cloud environment. So OK Okta is one, IDP is one, another one. Uh, um, Google Authenticator is one. There's quite a few out there. There's probably like a handful out there. They're very popular. But yeah, if I was you, Perry, I would basically go out there and find IM projects, enterprise IM projects for a specific cloud provider that you're interested in, that you're already trained in and exposed to. So if you're working in Azure, learn how to do IM, dealing with Azure Cloud, meaning setting up, hundreds of roles, storing them within a database file, uploading that Excel file to Azure, so it auto generates the policies, etc. Testing those permissions out, etc. Um, but yeah, there's tons of things you can do with setting up IAM with third-party authenticators. Google those types of projects that you can do. You can find them on Medium, you can find them on YouTube. Um, but yeah, they're all over. So IAM, yes, Identity Access Manager. That's what IAM means. Yep, yep, yep. So that's number five. All right, two more. Six is, and this is the crucial part, is, and this is a skill. This is part of that technical, non-technical part, like technical, social part of being a high-level cloud professional is you need to have troubleshooting and problem-solving skills. All right, that's the ability to diagnose and resolve technical issues efficiently. So this is also what I teach my students in my boot camp. Is you have to think. Let's start thinking like an engineer. I don't ever try to spoon feed answers when they run into problems. When they ask me a problem, I reiterate back to them. Okay, what is it you're trying to do? What is it that it's doing that's in error? And how let's find out how you can how what are ways you can go about trying to get to the output or resolution that you're looking for. Because in order to be a good engineer, you have to get really good at just asking really good questions, meaning asking yourself really good questions to think through a problem. You have to think through a problem, meaning you got to, you take a problem, a task that's given to you, you take the whole thing in, and then you dissect it. Okay, what did it really answer? This is why AWS actually does a good job in their exams that they have you test for when they give you scenarios, because literally you'll be given scenarios at work. You're not going to be given all the time, especially in class support engineer role. Um, well, what kind of is class support engineer role? Well, it depends, but about half the time you can't rely on just someone giving you a straight. They're not going to give you a straight uh task. It's not going to be straightforward. It's going to be, look, I'm trying to do this, that it is to access this system. Please create the role for me, or I'm having issues with my roles access my user accessing that particular server, right? So if they say, oh, my user Dan is having an issue accessing a server, he's locked out of a server, then you have to say, ask yourself, okay, all right, Dan, okay, that's the user. Okay, what is he trying to do? He's trying to access a server. Okay, where are the servers? All right, where is his server environment? If it's not listed in the ticket, it's going to require you to approach them and say, well, okay, what environment is the server located in? Right. Again, you got to start breaking these things down, and then they'll tell you what environment. And okay, and then you got to if it's not in the ticket, you're going to also have to ask them, well, which server is it they're trying to access? And then you're able to find the environment. You found the server. Okay, it's a Linux server or it's a Windows server. So you okay, and then you start to get down to it, and you find out, okay, what does it? Did you ask yourself, well, is this user a local user that's on Active Directory, or is this user accessing it via IAM role? Well, if they're accessing the IAM role, then that means you got to go to your IAMs to see if that, IAM permission has expired, if they're locked out, what have you, or if it's a local user based on AD, Active Directory, where you got to go to Active Directory to see if they've been locked out, their account been timed out, or what have you, they've been removed. Like, again, problem solve. This is all trouble. You got to learn to basically take big problems and break them down into pieces. All right, literally, if you have to copy the whole thing and put it in your notepad and break each part down, so that, and then have answers that you provide to each part to help you think through a problem. That is all a part of troubleshooting and problem solving. Doesn't mean you're going to know it all. Nobody knows it all, but you have to have that skill of being able to solve problems. All right, and most importantly, solve problems under pressure. Meaning, if somebody's saying, "Oh, I got to do this today." All right, well, you got to be a thinker in situations where it's like, okay, I don't know everything, but I know somebody who knows a little bit more than me in this particular area. So I'm gonna work as much till I can, till I hit a wall, and then reach out to them for help. To help me get past the goal line. You know, so like You got to think under pressure, especially if you're on call. They call you 2 o'clock in the morning. There's a red alert going out, a production server down. And trust, there's always, when it comes to like, especially immediate emergency issues, always trust. And especially working with an organization, unless you work for yourself, but if working under a big organization, they're always going to have smarter engineers on the call. So the pressure is not going to be all on you to perform a specific task. They might even to solve a specific problem because you don't, they're not trusting you to do it all by yourself. You're likely gonna have somebody on smarter who can help you navigate through the issues, and they might have you on the keyboard solving the issues and telling you how to work through it. Like I literally have been on calls where, again, my early on in my career, I didn't know Linux well at all, and they would literally tell me exactly which command to type in. Like that's, and we don't really look down on engineers who don't know it, because we all didn't know something at one time. It's when you do know, when you do obtain that knowledge. Did you write it down? Did you take notes? Are you learning from it? I'm having to retell you the same thing over and over. Because if I'm having to tell you the real thing, same thing over and over, that means you're not investing in your problem solving ability because you're not investing in your tool belt of obtaining knowledge and retaining knowledge. And it's always best to have notes somewhere that you can refer to as your glossary, your personal glossary to solve problems. All right. So that's how that relates. Um, uh, if y'all ready for number seven, this is the last top skill that you need for a cloud support engineer. Give me a one in the chat. Um, and if everything I've said so far don't make no sense, give me a zero in the chat. If I basically be speaking way over your head and you like contact big on to me goes, I don't know what you talking about. I don't know what you talking about. Like I was lost there too. Let put a zero in the chat. But if I'm making sense to you so far, if I'm resonating with you, give me a one in the chat. Or you're saying how to spell I am. You're gonna have to Google. Look, this is a problem. This is part of problem solving now. I am is mm. There you go. I am identity access manager. If I spelled it wrong, blame it on the liquor, like Jamie Foxx said. Hmm. Okay, cool. We got some ones. Appreciate that, John. Appreciate that. On the fifth one, the fifth one was security. Well, yeah, I am policies. Yeah, I am security and encryption. All right. So number seven. Number seven. In encryption, you'll learn about that about with uh, encryption keys, various encryption tools, encryption services. S3 has some encryption services that they offer as well. Again, it can go deep. Security goes super deep. That's why it's one of the top 1, 2 uh, career role paths within cloud and within tech. Period. We have a huge security issue. We don't have enough security engineers. We don't have enough trained security engineers, and companies, pee foot around when it comes to paying out for security and investing in training, and then they always have to pay for it when hackers hold this stuff hostage. So yeah, so security is deep. But anyway, all right. So number seven. So here's number seven. So I'm gonna preface number seven with this. You need to have this. You don't have to have this skill to get a cloud support engineer role. It's a luxury skill to have. I'm gonna say a luxury skill, and here's why. You're not going to in that cloud support engineering role. You're likely not going to be building anything. If anything you have to build, you might be rebuilding a server that went down, rebuilding it from an AMI or a snapshot. Um, but you're not building anything. Right? Like you're not going to build a stage environment. You're not going to build a QA environment. You're not going to build a subnet, a private service. Like not as a cloud support engineer in most roles. But this is like think of this as a bonus tool to have. And if you have it, it's going to expedite you from being able to jump from a cloud support engineering role to higher cloud engineering roles, to actual cloud engineering roles, cloud infrastructure, cloud administration roles. All right, um, and cloud DevOps. And here's the tool: DevOps tools. So experience with CI/CD tools, containers, and orchestration. All right. So what that means is, and we did this in my last few boot camps. We didn't do this boot camp because we're working on a really big project I am working on. But in our fall winter boot camp, we're definitely gonna I'm gonna implement this because boot camp might be a little bit a week or two longer. But anyway, experience with CI/CD tools. So this means CI/CD is continuous integration, continuous development tools. If you want to look into what CI/CD is, YouTube or Google, there's all types of videos on it. But that means exposure to things like Jenkins, like Bitbucket, like GitHub, like GitLab, all right? And that's purely command line work. Terraform even, Terraform especially, not even, but especially. And you'll see some cloud support engineers saying have experience with Terraform. And it's again great that you have it. But if you don't have it, it's not going to be a knock because guess what? In most cases, as a cloud support engineer, you're never going to touch Terraform. All right. In my cloud support engineering role, we basically supported. We were early adopters of the cloud and working with companies that were early adopters and building their environments. And I'm talking about these are some of the most popular, most high earning not career, high earning companies in the world. Literally, like if I named them, you'd be like, oh yeah, those were our clients, and they were paying us stupid money a month. All right, we never touched a, CI/CD tool. We never touched any kind of DevOps tool that they. We just supported them in their cloud inside the actual cloud console work. And as a cloud support engineer, most of your work is going to be done in the console or in some type of virtual environment, GUI environment. Most of your work is going to come from GUI. You're not going to really deal with the command line that much unless you're troubleshooting something on a particular server. But when it comes to DevOps tools, you like CI/CD pipeline, which I mentioned, Jenkins, you can build CI/CD pipelines in your home project. You can literally Google CI/CD projects for Jenkins or for GitHub or for a GitLab or for Bitbucket. All right, and I've used all four of those extensively. Um, containers. Containers is something that especially if unless you're a container support engineer, which is this, all they do all day is support serverless setups. That's all their jobs are. But most of y'all never will never deal with will touch containers. Um, but anyway, again, this is a bonus tool to have, but it's a luxury tool. So meaning if you got it, oh, you're gonna have strong chances to get into most cloud support engineering roles. Containers meaning Dockers, basically Docker. Knowing how to download a Docker image, run a Docker container, understand runtimes, understand ports that you open up for Dockers to have public access or private access, etc. Just understand. And Docker has gotten really easy to understand as the years come because the training material is out there. Out there is great. There's one young woman I follow who's like a SME when it comes to orchestration and container. I forget her name. Oh man, but I watch her stuff like especially when I was studying for my Kubernetes cert religiously. She has some great stuff, but there's some great Docker stuff up there, and you can learn Docker pretty fast actually. Um, but the Docker is also one of those things like Python, we have to constantly do it so that you stay abreast upon what it is because it's easy to forget because you're not doing it that much. And then the last one, part of that, where I spoke of orchestration, most of y'all would never do this again. And it's crazy because there was a time about 3 years ago where Kubernetes or orchestration, where Kubernetes was like the highest paying tech role you can get, especially cloud tech role you can get, because there was so few people who knew Kubernetes, so few people. And companies were like, "Ooh, orchestration," to set up their cloud infrastructure. Make everything serverless, right? There's oh Kubernetes, but then they found out Kubernetes is really expensive to run, and the engineers are come at a premium price. And so a lot of companies just, and containerization with the help of AWS adopting EKS, and AWS and Azure adopting AKS and Google Cloud having Kubernetes, GKS, they make it a lot easier where you don't have to, understand Kubernetes as a third party product, but more so understand it while you're understanding the actual cloud platform you're servicing. But Kubernetes is just orchestration tool. It's basically an extension of you're dealing with containers. Well, let's say you have millions of containers. How do you organize that within your cloud infrastructure for to serve different purposes of your cloud setup? So for your logic tier, for your app tier, for your database tier, well, you're not running databases on containers. That wouldn't be smart to anyway. But app tier, your logic tier, you have different your load balancers, your back pools, and everything connecting to containers. How do you orchestrate it all? Um, and in most cases, is with Kubernetes, and Kubernetes is deep to understand. People who get that CKA, you guarantee at least a 120 minimum job, like because there's so few people out there who know Kubernetes, even still to this day. It's still a tough skill to acquire, but a luxury skill. All right, so if you have Kubernetes, you can skip over class support engineer roles. You can just be a Kubernetes engineer and do really well. Um, but yeah, those are the seven top skills of as a cloud support engineer. Let's see what else I want to cover. Uh, yeah, so let me go over quickly the three times. If I'm making sense to y'all, give me a one. Did all those seven skills make sense to y'all? If they didn't, give me a zero. If they did, give me a one in the chat. Y'all know me. I like to make sure we all learning this together. What's going on, Miss Him? For the cloud engineer role, working on good, 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 good. Oh, and thank you for your service, man. I love working and helping. Our those in our military. I have a soft spot for them. So, always reach out to me for help. I'm always looking out for y'all. I discount all my services for military professionals, and I always try to put them at the front of the line of anything that I'm offering when it comes to them need help. So, yeah, give me some ones. Appreciate that, John White. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Will they actually say, well, we're going to get to that part too, Miss Smith. After I go over these three, I'm going to go over the alternative names for cloud support engineers. But yeah, I need some more ones. K8s, yep. K8s, Miss Smith. Yep, that's what it's called. Kubernetes K8s. 225. Where is 225? Is that in Indiana somewhere? Don't tell me it's Baltimore. Hmm. Why you put your one like that? All right. So let me get into the three tasks of a top three tasks of a cloud support engineer. So the top three tasks are usually, like I said, resolution. So you're just diagnosing issues that customer have. So these are and these customers, don't think of these customers as like somebody who bought AT&T service and they're calling from home to help. No, these customers are usually technical people themselves. And this is one thing you'll learn in the tech industry, especially cloud tech side. There's a lot of really, really smart on-premise and traditional IT folk out there, but they are cloud dumb, meaning they like refuse to learn cloud. They just don't know cloud enough. They're just so much of a SME on traditional technology, Linux, Scrum, um, on-premise work, Active Directory work, SQL databases, etc., where they just don't even have the time and interest to learn cloud. So you'll be surprised at what they don't know about cloud was fundamental to you, was like common knowledge for you in cloud that they have no idea about. Most of them have never been in the cloud environment itself, like work open the cloud console. So you'll be resolving their issues. They're your customers. And again, they'll be mostly have access issues and they'll mostly have server optimization issues, which is the next point. So number one is just issue. You're going to be solving issues all day, every day. Now, some companies want to come again. Cloud support engineer is like the entry level to cloud, being a cloud professional. All right, because you can start as a cloud support engineer and literally go any route in cloud because you get exposed to so much of the cloud where you can build, you can find what your interest, what aspect of cloud is really interests you, and lean into that skills, those skills on that side, and lean into the experience until you get a trajectory to get a role towards that path that you're interested in. But yeah, you're solving tickets all day. So a lot of tech companies are going to have SLAs, meaning they're going to say, They're gonna have timers on tickets, meaning you have 45 minutes to respond to a ticket. You know, um, and that's just how the game goes. So just get ready for that. You're getting a good salary, a lot. You either remote or hybrid, um, and you're gonna work crummy hours. Especially if you're starting off and you're desperate really to take it on. If you got some time, you can kind of you're not really that desperate to lean into a cloud role. Then you can kind of be a little bit more picky and take on a day shift role. If you're really desperate to get in and start making some good money in this industry and start really building some on work experience, I would beat everybody to the punch. I would only go after night shift roles. My first cloud support engineering role was a cloud support engineer for a company based out of Durham, based out of Seattle, but the office I worked closest to was in Durham, and it was a night shift. I worked. I started off training on the mid shift, which was like from 5 to 12, but my job was literally for a year night shift, literally from 12 in the morning to 9:15 in the morning. All right. 12:45 in the morning was my start time. We had to be there by 12:15. But 12:45 was our start time, 9:15 in the morning, 5 days a week. And it wouldn't just and there was no weekends off. I worked most Saturdays and Sundays. I was off probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Um, something like that. But and then I work my way up. The better you get as an engineer, they bump you up to the shift. So the prime shift is the day shift, which is from like 9:15 to like 4:45 or something like that. So you get bumped up to that. When you're on a day shift, that means you're a pretty good support engineer. But start off on the night shift, it's a graveyard shift, baby. But you get to do all the learning, making all the mistakes, and you don't. It's not that busy. I was literally taking naps and went to sleep and, just walk around the city at night, whatever, because it's not busy. Nobody's up submitting tickets. They're like you usually working on tickets that come in through that are automated through uh, different monitoring tools they have set up, which goes to number two. Number two is system monitoring. So you're going to do so much system monitoring as a cloud engineer. This is why you're going to build custom support engineers is kind of like the low bottom role of cloud tech professionals, but you get under the hood and you're like the mechanic of the cloud and you learn so freaking much because you're exposed to so much. So with system monitoring, meaning you're going to be monitoring the performance of various resources that a company has set up in the cloud. So for instance, you may have EC2 server. So they're going to likely have some type of auto monitoring tool that if it spikes beyond 50% or 60% or 80% in utilization. Like you're going to learn utilization. That's going to be a key word for you. Utilization rates of a server, a database server, or EC2 server, or virtual server, whatever. It'll automate a ticket, generate a ticket, and you have a certain SLA you have to meet where you have to respond to that ticket in time. And to be honest with you, in most cases, most companies have scripts for all of this. So they have an automated script, and then you'll just go in and make minor tweaks to that script based on what you're saying. So we used to have to just take a screenshot of the monitoring that come through, place it inside the script, upload it to the ticket, boom. You know, it's just done. We can quad it. Here's because the script will have what suggests like it'll have all these things. You don't have to rewrite all every time. But monitoring, you're going to be exposed to monitoring. All right, you're going to do a lot of freaking monitoring. All right, and trust me, that's going to come in handy later on in your career at any tech role, because usually when a server is down or experiencing issues, it's usually due to well, a sign of there's something going wrong is usually the monitorization, the utilization of that server that's spiking for some reason, and that'll give you some hints to what application is driving that spike. All right, you don't want a spike of service because if it's spiking too high, like your physical laptop, if you have too much, if you ever go to your task manager and it's spiking high, your computer laptop is getting hot, it's because your applications, you have too many things running at one time and it's just not supported by the RAM, it can crash your machine. Same thing, it will crash it will crash the server. But thankfully, you'll be with an organization that likely has some type of auto scaling setup. So it's spinning up new servers connected to the load balancer. Anyway, um, that's number two is monitoring. You're going to do a lot of monitoring. Your job is to monitor. If anything goes haywire, you might be responsible to have to create a red alert that goes out. Um, and wakes up senior engineers out their bed in the middle of the night, whatever, to everybody hop on a call to troubleshoot an issue, and let the client know that you all are troubleshooting on the issue. And it's all business, baby. It's all business. All of this is business. Again, this is why when you learn cloud skills, learn and these aspects I talked about, especially those top seven, learn how they affect the business of a cloud environment, or affect the business of a company. Why is a company requiring that you learn these skills? How does it affect the business? Um, but I'm gonna do a whole video on that. Number three, the last three tasks of a the last three tasks of a cloud support engineer is customer support. This is a big one. Again, this is part of that. When I say most of your career trajectory will be non-technical, will be social. What I mean by that is it's the customer support, how good you are and how far you get in this industry is going to literally be how you treat others, how you serve others. All right, that's clients as well as your teammates and the organization you're working for. Are you patient on calls? Are you always trying to be the smartest person on the call? Do you hate being feeling like you're not the smartest person, or somebody trying to make you look dumb? Do you get irate, and do you go off, and do you talk a lot? Do you think everybody's always attacking you? Your customer support skills are going to get you far. Trust me, customers will advocate for you when you make mistakes, if you've done right by them. You know, it's just and they're just good to have. Is good networking, because when you lead organizations, you build rapport with customers, you build rapport with your teammates, and you never know what opportunities you all can levy off of each other in the future. So customer support, because again, this is customer. It's a glorified customer support role. People used to pick up the call for Comcast. Yeah, your cable's messed up. This what you. This is basically that role, just in a cloud environment. Except for, in most cases, you're not picking up the phone. Some cases you are, because they have phone support as well. If a client or customer feel like their ticket is not getting responded to in adequate time, or they're in a rush for something, they will call, and you better answer. Or you gonna have to answer to somebody while you pick up. All right. So did all three of those, before I move on to the alternative names for cloud support engineers, did all three of those tasks that of a cloud support engineer make sense? Give me a one in the chat. Give me a zero if it didn't make sense. Never knew that. Always thought it was real phone bill customer. Yeah, yeah. One. Very cool. We're back on the road. Okay. Okay, you heard me. Okay. Little young boy. Little Boosie. Hmm. And I talked about that with some jobs hire you without. Yes, yes, yes. Some will, but don't rely on them. You want to always have the competitive advantage. Um, go in with your cert. That way you don't have to have the pressure of, oh, I'm gonna lose this job and my income if I don't get past this certification. But yeah, some roles will say, again, they're setting the job for willing to obtain a specific cloud certification. It'll literally less that. Like it won't be like 90 days, because you're still onboarding by that. And that's the thing about onboarding when it comes to cloud tech roles, they give you like a good grace period of about 3 months to onboard, for you to learn the organization, to learn the job, to learn where everything is at, um, to be trained on these things. And the training ain't that great, to be honest. But you get like a little person you can shadow, and they have plenty of docs. Sometimes not the best of docs. 'Cause technical documentation could be trash in this industry. Um, but 90 days, yeah, it's not gonna be a 90 days, it's more gonna be like 3 months. And that probably give you like 4 to 6 months to maybe a year to get that cert. And the reason these certs are important, because it's not just so you prove that you're knowledgeable. This is what they sell to their customers. All right. Again, this is why you have to learn and respect the business of cloud technology, because they're telling their customers all of our support engineers or all of our cloud engineers are industry certified, and they're standing on it. So that means that when a company come, they're trying to bring on a new client and woo a new client, they're gonna be like, yeah, they're gonna be walking them through the office or whatever, or showcasing them, showing them slides. Yeah, all of our engineers are industry certified. That means you. All right. So you need to be certified in order for the business to continue to bring in high paying customers to afford your salary. All right. So this is why this is all, it's always business as well as the technical implementation. Learn both. It's not complicated. You just have to do it, do it step by step. Any class or yeah, practically even the fundamental certifications are usually good enough. But the job board will say which ones are required. They say required this cert. But the ones that say likely to have more lenient. They didn't really have a certification requirement. But or a job boards that say are willing to get such and such certification. All right. And let me get to these alternative roles real quick, and then we're gonna do Q&A, then we're gonna get out of here. Um, so for starters, make sure that y'all are put my banners up. We gotta take care of the business. Um, Yeah, if you're curious about your how we can help you for your cloud engineer training goals, organization, or you as an individual, reach out to me at bcloudengineers.com. I do one-on-one consultations. You can schedule that on the website as well. So that's up there for y'all. While that's up there, um, top five alternative name for cloud support. So it's not going to always say cloud support engineer, though. In most cases, it's going to say. In most cases, it's going to say um, support engineer, right? It might have the words like cloud operations engineer. You might sometimes have might be cloud infrastructure engineer, even though cloud infrastructure engineer is really heavier towards cloud administrator. So you'll actually be building, quasi supporting, but also cloud services engineer, cloud technical support engineer is a big one, cloud solutions engineer. All right. So and some might just say flat out cloud engineer. That's why you got to read the objectives in the description to see if there's anything that says about support in there. That's usually the giveaway that it's support role. And again, support roles usually pay anywhere between 55 to about 90K. So, and again, but a mix of hybrid and remote roles. But again, if you're looking to just break into cloud technology and you want to do it rather quickly, then working your way towards exactly a cloud engineer role. If you just want to break into cloud tech, start our version of help desk and cloud technology. Our version of help desk is cloud support engineers. All right, that needs to be your starting point, not just help desk. All right, not just traditional help because traditional help desk will again have you doing a plethora of on-premise, on-site things when you need to be doing more cloud-based work to build up those cloud skills and cloud exposure and cloud repertoire. So, all right. So I'm going to give y'all about 10 minutes for Q&A. So if you have any questions related to tonight or anything pertaining to your path in cloud tech, shoot, let's go, baby. I ain't even tipsy or faded like I usually am. We're having a great time tonight. Bobby said, "What should I do when I have certs and ability to do a role, but they're asking for a bachelor's degree? Leave them. Don't go to that company." And if a company is asking you to do you have like a recruiter is asking you to have a bachelor's degree, and they're saying they're only accepting bachelor's degree for that role, then that's not the role for you. But if a job description is asking for a bachelor's degree, apply anyway. I said this on my call last night with my students. Every role that I've had as a cloud engineer, even a cloud architect, required some type of collegiate degree, i.e., a bachelor's. I don't have a bachelor's. I don't even have a formal college degree. All right. But I have a set of skills, cloud skills. I have proven cloud skills, and I have my cloud certifications. All right. And that's usually enough to get the recruiter to send my stuff over to the hiring manager and the hiring manager to qualify me to go to the next round of technical interviews. All right. And I got a whole video about how to get past the hiring rounds, the different hiring rounds, in becoming a cloud engineer, cloud security engineer. And that's the thing too. Even if you want to do cloud security, cloud support engineers, dang near half of your job is going to be dealing with security. Remember those I am politics I talked about earlier? That's security. You're going to be um, dealing with one company. I forgot what the software we used to use, but we used to block knuckles all day. That's cloud security. We used to block not knuckles, blacklist IPs on the knuckle. All right, or block IPs, blacklist IPs on in a security group, or whitelist IPs on the security group. More so, that's security. Yeah, don't if you're aspiring to work within the cybersecurity realm, cloud security realm, don't overlook the uh, opportunity to do so. Starting with, like, most people try to go for cybersecurity engineer or cybersecurity open entry level roles and overlook all the opportunity by just getting cloud support engineer roles. Like, you'll be working literally with cloud security engineers, learning from them, having cloud security tasks, and then peeling from there to work your way into a cloud security role for the actual company. And then you can move outside the company to a different company working as a cloud security engineer. I guess don't overcomplicate the process. It's getting the Scrum Master cert worth it only if you want to be a project manager. So yes. If you want to be a project manager, absolutely. In your case scenario, it wouldn't hurt to get. Um, Especially if you're in that realm where you need to, like, you want to get those, like, like, I know we've been going through our challenges with these certs, and you need that confidence reminder boost of a cert. Yeah, the Scrum wouldn't hurt at all, because then you can just go after project management roles, and they see that you have uh, cloud security experience, due to the projects and everything you've been working on. Boom, that can be your entry right there to a project manager um, role within it for a company within the security realm. And a project manager, you're not a SME. Like, I work with tons of project managers, especially within the feds. Most of them are not tech savvy like that. They're great at Scrum, at Agile, at management of their tasks and projects, like the management lifecycle of technology. And they have technical engineers that work for them to execute. But they just manage everything. So yeah, that would be my advice. Scrum is worth it if you're definitely trying to go towards project management roles and you just need that booster. You're just trying to, boost up your resume more. Scrums are cool, always good to have. I would never shun the Scrum. You know, who else got a question? Repeat those roles again. Oh, let me repeat those roles again. My bad. My bad, babe. Well, that's 225 girl. She from Louisiana. Hey, that tequila's starting to kick in. Oh, I got you. I got you. Sador Sina. I got your question. I'm gonna answer it right after I do this. So, five alternative names for cloud support engineer roles again are cloud operations engineer, cloud infrastructure engineer. Again, cloud infrastructure engineer is more so in the lines of cloud administrator engineers. Uh, so that's more administration. That's more you're actually building stuff, but it's in there. Cloud services engineer, cloud technical support engineer, and cloud solutions engineer. Those are the alternate names to look for. And when you're googling or googling or searching for cloud jobs, cloud support roles, just type in support, like cloud support jobs, you know, and they're going to come up in the mirror of names, and not all of them. The ones that's listed might not say cloud support engineer, but within the description, it might have cloud support engineer. That's how you know it's likely a cloud support engineer role. All right, and Dorsina said, "What role should I apply for with cloud practitioner?" Yeah, cloud practitioner. If you have any fundamental cloud certification, you need to be going for cloud support engineering roles, because those or TAMs, cloud technical account managers, which is basically the cloud version of a project manager, because they're the liaison between the client and the engineers, meaning they transfer the information of what the client wants, and they get the engineers to actually implement what the client wants. And they're managing the budget and everything, and managing the complaints that the client may have. So cloud TAM, or cloud support engineer if you have a cloud practitioner certification, or even cloud sales too. That's not really my mine's, that's not what my whole thing is about. My whole page and everything is about. But That's very lucrative career as cloud sales. The only thing is when layoffs happen, you the first to go. They the first budget they cut, you bet your bottom dollar is the marketing and sales team. They're gonna strip y'all down bare, strip that department bare. Okay. But yeah, you can if you're going into cloud sales, TAM or cloud support engineer, and you have your cloud practitioner certification or your Azure fundamentals, bingo. Did I answer your question? What did I pronounce your name right? Give me a nickname or something to call you. I appreciate you for your question, by the way. Like 50% of cloud jobs don't even ask for a degree. Bingo. And that's crazy because that's becoming more popular. Especially again, I read this stuff daily. I like it. One because I'm just a nerd for knowledge and I'm a workaholic. And two, I always want to provide the most efficient information to those that follow me and those that, are trying to make the transition, giving them a healthy, realistic um, vision of what's ahead of them and path forward, optimizing their path forward. I study this stuff, and yeah, it's becoming more because they're finding out the degree. And we have, I'm gonna do a whole YouTube on this as well about because they find out degrees aren't training students, especially cloud computer science degrees and traditional computing degrees. They aren't training students to be equipped to come into the job market and perform as engineers. They're equipping students to come into the job market as theorists, meaning they have no actual application on how to do these things, how to apply these technologies or apply these theories. They theorize. And we're beyond that point in tech. We need more engineers who are capable of doing jobs. That's why certain degrees have kind of lost their value, not even kind of have lost their value, and certifications have boomed, in this industry because certifications are strictly based upon knowing, being knowledgeable upon what kind of implementation it takes to act on various cloud resources. How to implement cloud resources. All right, but again, even certifications doesn't mean you have the skill. You still got to do the projects to actually acquire the skill, but it leans you towards being prepped to be ready to do these jobs, to be industry trained to do these jobs. What's happening? What's happening, Maya? Maya fire. You towards the end, but it's all good. Excuse me. We talked about scrums. I'm gonna answer one more question y'all got for me. Which cloud would be best to start? And this, by the way, this stuff is not easy. I'm sweating. I'm standing. Y'all see, I've been standing up. We've been doing this for what, an hour and 22 minutes. Every time I go to my wife, I'm like, look, I'm only doing it for 30 minutes. I'm always on here for an hour and change. But I order y'all because it's been 4 weeks, man. Like I said, I've been busy, being HOA president, running a family, running a business, running my actual career, boot camp. It's a lot, bro. And it's just me. So, but we're gonna get back to doing these tech lives. And I got a surprise guest by the end of this month, maybe the top of the month. That's gonna be a treat for y'all as well. But anyway, which cert would be best to land a cloud support engineer? Again, I talked about this for the cert that would be the best, to be honest with you, would be any associate level certification. All right, especially any architect or administrative cert level, associate level certification. All right, those two will be the best certifications. But what's acceptable are fundamental certifications. So Azure fundamental, AWS practitioner is fundamental. Anything is fundamental. Google Cloud Engineer actually will lead you towards a Google step above, which will lead you towards Google Cloud Engineering roles, which are pretty cool too. But you can even get a support role with that certification. Let's see. Do one more. All right. Um, Condema said, I've been working a help desk role for the past 2 years. I have AZ 104. Okay, you got the administrator. I'm looking to transition to cloud. No, I think you're fine. You got the 104. What's the 104? Is the 104? I think that's the administrative cert. Let me see. Oof, I'm tipsy. I can't even type. And it's because the alcohol hit me after the gym. That's a bad idea. I'm here for y'all anyway. That 104 is yeah, you had the administrative cert. Yeah, you overqualify for that, but I would definitely, if you want to make a quick transition, I would definitely highly recommend that you immediately go to Azure support engineer roles. Meaning these are, and that's another thing. If you're certified in AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, so when you type in the support role that you're looking for, type in that cloud platform as well, so that those are particularly coming up. Now that doesn't mean if you have a Azure cert, you won't get a AWS support job, cloud support engineer job, because you will. You likely will, because most of these companies, especially cloud support engineering companies, MSPs, which is managed service providers is the name for the companies that uh, provide companies with support engineers, cloud support engineers. They're multi-cloud anyway. They're supporting clouds and multiple tenants across multiple cloud platforms anyway. So you can have be certified in one and have skills that cross over to the other, because again, they're all fundamentally the same. But for you, yeah, looking to transition, do you recommend? No, I don't think you should get the any more certifications. I think you need to make the jump. You need to get out there help desk. So you need to go get a cloud support engineering role. Like that needs to be your focus this month. You need to tailor your whole resume towards everything you've interacted with over the past 2 years with cloud. Everything needs to be focused on transition towards that on your resume, and go start going after support engineering roles. And do that for at least a year, and then make another jump to a cloud administrator role. And then boom, you're good for at least the next couple of years after that. So yeah, I think you're overqualified, in my opinion. Don't get no more certs. Make the hop. All right. Just seen too many people get cert happy, especially help desk folks, because you just don't know. You haven't been in the cloud role, you don't know. You never made a jump. Don't get cert happy. If anything, get project happy, because the projects make your resume fatter. Certifications, they're great too. They qualify you, but them projects give you skills and they make your resume fatter with experience. All right, you got a GitHub link? No, I don't. Not off the top of my head. Um, Outside of my bootcamp group using GitHub, I don't do many projects out of GitHub, to be honest with you. I just know GitHub well because I've done it on the job. But there's a ton out there. Like I see a lot of developers do a lot of GitHub work, and which makes sense because they're pulling from the repo, pulling different scripts from the repo to use for their projects. But you can Google it, just GitHub link for cloud, various whatever cloud project you're looking for. Um, See if GitHub has some, or if you follow in a YouTube or whatever who's walking you through a project, they'll usually have a link to their GitHub repo, and you can download to your local machine to be able to start their project. So, but I don't personally have a GitHub link. Well, I mean, do have a GitHub, but I can't. But I don't have any real projects out of it that'll be useful for you. Yeah, said something about O'Reilly's free red hat training. Yeah. Nope. Yep. You spelled it right. Yep. O'Reilly's. You know what's funny? I thought when I first learned about O'Reilly's, I thought it was like, O'Reilly. Auto stock. Yeah, I thought, but no, O'Reilly's apparently teaches a lot about Red Hat and Linux, and it's free training, great training to get your hand. That Mercedes, who is a Splunk engineer, Splunk security engineer, she who I had interviewed earlier this year, who's on our tech at one of our tech at nights. We did a lunch tech at night with her this year on our YouTube channel. She speaks all about she posts all of her O'Reilly's projects that she does and certification. She's always getting an O'Reilly certification. Always. Shout out to Mercedes, man. Big dog. Big dog out of Tennessee. But yeah, so O'Reilly's, yeah, you spelled it right. The auto shop. All right, y'all, let me get out of here. That's about all the questions I got for y'all and answers. I'm tired of standing up. Helps hurt a little bit. Need to spend some evening time with the wifey. But yeah, if you want to talk more about, oh, thank you. Appreciate that, man. Thank you, Miss Mill. Man, I appreciate that. Yeah. Y'all check it. Always check back in with me. And most of the break crew, through crew does when they get their certifications or they get a job, they check in the comments or email, let me know how they're doing. So that's great. But yeah, if you're looking for the, we got our boot camp coming up. which is crazy because I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what's going on now. This is my first time doing this, but I actually have two teenagers that I'm working with in my boot camp, my current summer cloud training boot camp, cloud engineer training boot camp. I gotta find a way to make that name shorter. But anyway, and I was hesitant because for years I've been mentoring since I was like 21. I'm 35 now. I've been mentoring since I was 21. I've always mentored the worst kids in the city, in the state. And so I've always had this apprehension about working with kids, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to deal with the attitudes, got to check up on them all the time, got to encourage them. But I've been working with two teenagers and they've been doing excellent in our boot camp, like excellent. I ain't gotta harass them about getting work done, like, and they're picking. And I've been posting the progress in our stories. Like right now, we're at week two, going on week three, and they've been creating these projects and making it beautiful. And um, especially they're working on this big. I haven't told them yet, but this cloud project I got them working on. Most cloud engineers can't do this project. All right, but they don't know that. They don't know that. But they are making headway in this project, and they're working with adults. Like I have everybody partnered up where there's accountability there, and man, it made me want to be like, you know what? Next summer I'm going to do a whole boot camp catered towards just teenagers as well because they've been doing so well. And so it's like I was so jaded about working with young folks for so long because again I mentored the worst. And these are people who have felonies and the worst, facing 100 years, 200 years prison sentence, and some of them been in prison. I don't deal with the worst, so I had always this jaded view of teenagers. But working with these group of teenagers, the good teenagers who actually pay attention and are eager to learn this technology. My youngest student right now is 15, right? And they're getting through this, and I can't wait to post their progress, especially the end of the when they reach the end of camp. But it's amazing. So anyway, um, this stuff you can learn this as even your teenagers can learn this. If you want to get them cloud training, they can learn this stuff. All right, but it's still adequate, especially for adults. All right, this stuff is serious stuff. These are big boy skills. So if you're interested in even not just going the cloud engineering path, but any cloud professional path, and you're curious about if you're taking the right certifications, if you have the right things on your resume, what are the next steps you should do to land a cloud professional role? That's even off kilter. I even got a chef, matter of fact, just got her, helped her get her certification most recently. So we're working on her getting her first job, the cloud tech role placement. But if you need anything cloud path wise and you want to schedule some one-on-one time with me outside of boot camp, again, go to our website, BCloudEngineers.com. I'm there for you. Set up some time, get on my schedule, hop on my calendar, and we're going to make that happen. So all right. Other than that, subscribe to the channel, Be Cloud Engineers. Share with your friends or somebody interested in learning cloud technology or who needs the advice and needs the direction. And I appreciate y'all for, you know, chilling with me tonight, learning with me tonight, growing with me tonight, and most importantly, sipping grown folk spirit with me tonight. So y'all make sure y'all have a great evening. Again, Be Cloud Engineers. Um, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and appreciate y'all support and continue to leave good comments. All right, remember you have what it takes the entire time. All right, be great.